Hi, I'm Kimberly Menster, your Citrus County Veterans Service Officer. Today we have with us State Representative Jimmie T. Smith. Jimmy, welcome.
Hello, it's good to see you again.
Glad to have you. So I wanted to first discuss about your time in the military. You did get out of the military as a staff sergeant, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us a little bit about what made you join and some of the things you did.
Well, I'm one of those ones that grew up watching John Wayne, Audie Murphy, and all the wonderful things, running around the woods of Citrus County and shooting BB guns at each other, which we shouldn't do, but we did anyway. And then fundamentally, it had always been a dream to be in the military. And subsequently, I joined at the age of 17, and I dropped out of school. At that point, the military was taking high school dropouts. My future was not bright, so the military said, we'll take you. And then I subsequently joined the infantry, and I spent 20 years in the United States Army as an infantryman, paratrooper, served in many different duty stations, served overseas in the first Gulf War, on the DMZ in Korea, and it was really a very interesting time in life.
Is there anything particular that stands out to you as the most memorable time when you were in the military?
Absolutely. My time in Panama, because as somebody who served in the Republic of Panama, I got to see the full spectrum of life of a burgeoning country that had struggles with a military dictator that then became a new democracy and representative government, and then fundamentally how they changed, how people changed, and I saw some of the worst of society and some of the best of society. So I think my time in Panama was really fundamentally something that's core to who I am.
So do you have any advice for anyone that is thinking about perhaps joining the military or making it a career?
Absolutely. First and foremost, if you're joining the military, do it for the right reason. Because the truth is it is hard. You're not going to walk into an easy job and have a cushy life. And that's okay, because war, and regardless of what portion of the military you go in, if you go to war, it's not going to be easy. But be focused on saving your money, getting your education, and what's going to happen after you're out of the military. Because quite often people join the military and they don't focus on the life after. So they'll spend all their money, they'll come out broke, and they'll not take advantage of the education benefits that are there while in the military. So if you're going to join the military, do your best you can to serve, but also work on bettering yourself while you're in there.
Some great advice. How did you decide you wanted to be a politician after your time in the military? What propelled you to be a state representative?
Well, one of the big things is I've always been outspoken. As you can tell by the fact I retired as a staff sergeant, that is actually because I was a very outspoken NCO, which is not good for a military career to get to higher ranks, but on the outside of it, it's actually very good in the world of politics. So I was very outspoken about the things I thought should be done at the state level. And I thought that I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to run for office, and I was blessed to be elected by a very slim margin, mind you. And then subsequently to that, I had to say I've done pretty well for myself in the Florida House. I've established myself as an individual. I'm nobody's boy. I don't have to worry about leadership or lobbyists. I just do what I do. And because of that, I've been able to focus on some really great things. And I'm ending my tenure in the House as the chair of the Veterans and Military Affairs Subcommittee. And I think that's a great way to end.
That is quite the feather in your cap. Let's talk about some of the bills that you got passed and some of the initiatives that directly affect veterans.
Outstanding. Well, let's first and foremost, we have HB 45, which was the post-secondary aspect of education for veterans. So what you come to find out is if you're really good at sports, you can come out and get to the headline for a college application. If you're academically really good, you can go to the headline for college applications. If you come out of the military, you have to wait your turn. So what we did was we passed legislation that if your college allows for any kind of program like that, that you would have to instill this for military too. So military gets preferential enrollment, the same as a athlete or a student has done well in school for any public college or university.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Well, people who serve in the military want more than anything to be able to come out, get their education, and get a job. And the faster we get them into the workforce, the faster it actually benefits the community as well. Because having military who come out, who are college educated, who are in your community, are going to be very proactive in participating, volunteering, and being a benefit to your community. So we want them to have the same benefit as somebody who came out as a star athlete in high school.
Speaking of jobs, weren't you integral in developing employ veterans? Is that correct?
Yes. Well, there's several...
Veterans Florida, I'm sorry.
Veterans Florida. There's several bills that I got to be blessed to work on. So somehow I got myself to be the military guy in the Florida House. The Army guy spoke up so many times on Army issues that I now became the head on veterans issues. So a couple years back, we ran what was called the Florida GI Bill, and that was actually HB 7015, 7015. And what that did was that created an entity of government. Now it's a nonprofit, and it's Florida's for Veterans Incorporated. And they have subsequently became Veterans Florida. The whole purpose of my tenure in the Florida House when it came to veterans is I started to notice the one thing that veterans want more than anything else was jobs, employment. I want to be able to come home and feed my family. Or if I'm a young man and woman who just came out of the military, I want to come home and start working towards my future. Veterans don't join the military for a free hunting and fishing license. They want to come home and be active in their community. So because of that, we helped create this. This entity, Veterans Florida, is uniquely created to deal with the employment aspects of veterans. And you'll be surprised how many businesses have come up to me and said, Jimmy, how can I get your veterans? So because of that, Veterans Florida is going to create a web portal aspect which will help connect veterans with jobs. So as an example though, this last week I went up to Tallahassee and we sat down with the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, the trucking industry, and other entities throughout. And the department is going to go around to the military units so that the men and women who are drivers can actually now take the test at their unit to become CDL license qualified to fill the needs of the trucking industry, which has a massive shortage. So here are jobs right away that they can get into in Florida that pay between $16 to $18 an hour starting.
That's fantastic. Jimmy, thank you so much for coming on with us today. And if you have any questions, please contact the Veterans Service Office at 527-5915. Thank you.